Hey, what's up guys, it's Kelly, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another pretty hefty book haul for you. If you find yourself enjoying this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps me out, and if you're new here and would like to see more of me, then please subscribe. I have a pretty hefty stack of books to share with you today, so I'm not going to ramble. Let's just get into them. First up, we have Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This was very kindly gifted to me by the lovely folks over at Pan MacMillan, so thank you to them. This is Angie Thomas's third book, and it acts almost as a prequel to The Hate U Give. So in this book we follow Maverick Carter. Yeah, we follow Maverick Carter, who is Star from The Hate U Give's father. So we follow Maverick at 17. His father has been sent to prison, his mother's working 2 jobs, and he just wants to help support his family, but the only way that he knows how to do that is by selling drugs. And his life isn't perfect by any means, but things are going okay, things seem manageable, until he finds out that he's going to be a father. Suddenly he has a baby who is dependent on him for everything, and when he's offered the chance to stop dealing drugs and go straight, he jumps at it. And he has to figure out what it means to be a man on his terms and what kind of man he wants to be. I must be honest, I have not read any of the Angie Thomas books, but at least this one is a prequel, so I figure I can start with this one. I don't have to have read The Hate U Give. I keep being told that she's exceptional, and to be honest, I really like her as a person. Like, I really enjoy following her on Twitter. She just seems like such a wonderful, intelligent woman, and she's also really funny, and I know that these books deal with very important topics and grapple with important issues, so I am looking forward to giving this one a go. And then everything else in this video was sent to me by the lovely folks over at Jonathan Ball. I think they mostly were unsolicited. Like, I don't remember requesting any of these, but I'm very excited by all of them nonetheless. So first up we have one that actually wasn't sent to me, it was given to me by one of our Jonathan Ball sales reps, and that is Vegan One Pot Wonders, which is a recipe book, and it's easy, delicious plant-based meals for the modern home cook. This is by Jessica Prescott, and I've only tried one recipe out of here so far, but it was really good. The reason that this appeals to me so much is I'm vegan, Alan isn't, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's difficult for us to cook separate food. Like, we normally will have a shared base and then just different sides, but we do occasionally run out of space on the stove. So it would be really helpful if we could make more meals where it's like a vegan base and then Alan can just make like a chop or a piece of chicken or something to go with it, rather than having to make like a neutral base and a vegan topping and a meaty topping, and just, so, you know, if we can do everything in one pot, what a treat. And it means less dishes, which, okay, granted, Alan normally does most of the dishes, but still, less dishes for him, which is great. So far I'm thoroughly enjoying this. As I said, I've only tried one of the recipes, but I really like how it's laid out as well. It has like quite an extensive preface, and it gives you, you know, building the basics of a vegan pantry and the basics of like cooking implements that you might need and tips for busy people and cooking basics, so cooking your grains, cooking your lentils, basics that you can make or buy. It's just, so in addition to having some really great recipes, it also I think would be a great kind of starter recipe book if you're considering going vegan, or if you've just gone vegan and you don't really know what you're doing. This has some really great advice for beginners as well, and because the recipes are all one pot, they don't feel super intimidating. Then let's get the chunky elephant in the room out of the way. They also sent me A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas, which I've spoken about ad nauseum. By the time this video goes up, I will have made 2 videos specifically about this book. I will have made a video talking about Sarah J Maas in general, and I will have uploaded a reading wrap-up where I speak about this book, so you'll probably don't need to hear more about it, but they sent this to me. It was completely a surprise. They didn't make it available to request, they just surprised a bunch of us by sending it out, and it was one of the best days of my life, honestly, and I loved it so much. Such a good time. I received Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed, which this book and I have been on such a ride. Okay, so like 2 years ago, I went to like a morning presentation at the Jonathan Ball offices, and some of the Bloomsbury reps from the UK had come down to South Africa to do like these presentations, and they spoke about Such a Fun Age, and at that event I received an ARC of it. I did not read that ARC. I thought it sounded pretty interesting. I was pretty keen to read it. Then I lost interest. Then I regained interest. Then I lost interest again and decided to unhaul it. And then 2 weeks later, this arrived at my door, and I was like, well, I think this is a sign that I do actually need to read it. I don't know a lot of the details of this book, and I'm trying to keep it that way, but from what I remember, this is about a young black woman who is a babysitter for a white family, and for some reason one night she has to leave the house and take the baby with her, and someone sees her and assumes that she has kidnapped this baby. And it leads to this whole thing. There's like a social media shitstorm about it. Things kind of spiral and escalate from there. From what I have heard and from what I know about it, it looks at things like the white savior complex and privilege and power dynamics in racial relationships, and it sounds very interesting. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Apparently social media is a big aspect of it as well. I think it is going to be a very good read. And now this lovely finished copy of it arriving just determined that I am going to have to read this book. I received a copy of Ruby by Nina Allen, which sounds amazing. I am so excited to get to this one. So in this book we follow a horror actress called Ruby Castle, and I think we're told the story of her life through a series of people who have known her, so like her childhood sweetheart, a bookseller, the mistress of a poet who was once her lover, and a young girl in a future version of Russia who dreams of celebrities. And so we're told the story of Ruby's life through these like flashes of stories that these other people tell us, and slowly but surely Ruby's real life seems to start to collide with the stories that she's portraying on screen, to the point where her life becomes almost indistinguishable from the stories that she's telling, and it just sounds so good. You know, I love books about books, and I love books about stories and storytelling and the nature of storytelling, and I just think that this is going to be such a good one. Then I received The Moroccan Daughter by Deborah Rodriguez. She is quite a well-known author. She wrote a book called The Little Coffee Shop of Kabul, which, I mean, there were a series of them, and I think this might be part of the series. It's a series, but they're standalones, and yeah. And this does sound quite intriguing. So we're following a family in Morocco, and one of the daughters is coming home to finally share with her family a secret that she's been hiding, which is that she's been married to an American man. So our main character Amina's best friend Charlie comes along with her for moral support, but Charlie is also hiding a secret that involves a mystery man living in Casablanca. And then finally we follow Samira, who is this family's housekeeper, and she has the biggest and most dangerous secret of all, and it's one that could turn this family completely upside down. I think this is one that I'll enjoy when I just want something like to curl up with on a cozy day with a cup of tea and some snacks and just like escape to Morocco for a day. You know, I can see that happening, and I can see me loving it. Then we have Uncoupling by Lorraine Brown, which I did mention in my March TBR, and this follows Hannah and Sai. They are on a train on their way to a wedding, but over the course of the night their train separates, and Hannah wakes up the next morning in Paris, hundreds of miles away from Sai, who also has the ticket for the next leg of her journey. While she's sitting on the platform feeling sorry for herself, she meets Leo, who is just everything that Sai isn't, and they spend this day together, and it forces Hannah to confront everything that she thought she knew about herself and her relationship, and start to make some decisions about what it is that she actually wants out of life. This just sounds like a really fun, sweet rom-com that I'm probably gonna fly through in like a day. Yeah, I think I'm really gonna enjoy this one. I'm expecting it to have like Sophie Kinsella vibes and to just be a light, enjoyable, fun read. Then we have Everything is Going to Be K.O. by Kaya Stone, and this is a memoir, so we follow Kaya through her childhood as she goes through multiple different kinds of schools and does pretty well for herself overall, and ends up going to, on the back it says, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. It was either Oxford or Cambridge. I did like flick through to see which one it was, and it was either Oxford or Cambridge. But when she gets there, she starts failing tests and assignments and exams, and eventually is diagnosed with dyslexia and dyspraxia. And this book is her attempt to understand how she got through years and years of schooling without this ever being picked up and without this ever being diagnosed. And it's basically her attempt to understand the education system and how it fails people that have learning difficulties. And I'm hoping possibly looks at ways that we can fix that. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be very funny. It is illustrated, which I love. So there's like little illustrations throughout. Although it is dealing with a fairly serious topic and one that is a serious problem, I'm anticipating that it's not going to take itself too seriously, and that it is going to be like a fairly easy read and quite an enjoyable read and an enlightening read, and probably quite an educational one as well. Then we have The Package by Sebastian Fitzek, and I'm going to read the back of this because it sounds real good. All you've done is taken in a parcel for a neighbour. You have no idea what you've let into your life. Emma's the one that got away, the only survivor of a serial killer. Or she thinks she was. The police aren't convinced, nor is her husband. She never even saw her till winter properly, but now she sees him everywhere. Questioning her sanity, she retreats from the world. It's better to stay at home. Quiet, anonymous, safe. He won't find her here. So I've already been seeing amazing reviews coming in for this one. I'm very excited to read it. It sounds so good. And also, I'm just putting it out there that if I told my husband that a serial killer, had tried to kill me and he didn't believe me, like, I would be getting a divorce. Yeah, I think this is going to be a real good time. Also, I love the jacket. I think it's clever, and we love a clever jacket in this house. And then lastly, we have the book that I am most excited about, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I was so excited when I opened up my parcel and saw this. This is one that I've wanted to read for forever, and the Netflix movie coming out just makes me want to read it even more. And like, I'm not sure if I believe the whole Armie Hammer cannibal situation, but like, when I eventually watch the movie, that's just gonna add a whole new layer of sinisterness to his character, and I am ready. So in this book we follow a young woman, and I think that we never learn her name. I think it's one of those, and she has like this whirlwind romance with this wealthy, handsome young widower in Monte Carlo, and they end up getting married, and she goes back to his isolated country estate, and suddenly it's like he's a different person, and she realizes that she actually knows very little about this man that she's just married. Just the whole aura of the house is very unsettling and seems to be haunted by the spirit of his dead wife, Rebecca. And that spirit is also seemingly being kept alive by his very sinister housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers. And like, I know Hannah loved this, I know Olivia loved this, I know Becca loved this, so I'm just so excited to read it, because with commendations from those three, there is absolutely no way that I'm not going to love this book. So that is it for my first book haul of 2021. I am very excited to be sharing these books with you today. Let me just hope that I can actually read some of them, because prioritizing my necessary reads is not a thing that's happening at the moment. So hopefully you will be seeing reviews of all of these quite soon. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on any of these books if you've read them. Let me know what books you've got recently, or just like what books you're excited about. Let me know if any of these are on your TBR. If you did enjoy this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't already. In the description you'll find links to all of my social media. That's my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, as well as my blog. You'll also find links to my Patreon, my Redbubble, my Ko-fi, and my online store, as well as my Blackwalls affiliate link if you'd like to support me on any of those. But that is it for me today, and I shall see you all again very soon. Bye!
My life is grounded in a